Asmongold, the man, the myth, the guy who is always under some fire over some shit, right? So he has made some comments about the Israel-Palestine situation and he has gotten tons of backlash for it. His comments include, just saying that the whole culture over there at that side of the world is inferior, and people are really focusing on that part, and people are taking major offense to it, even calling him racist, etc., etc. Don't know how you can be racist against a culture, but you can be prejudiced or discriminatory, but whatever. The main issue here is that Asmongold has laid out his opinions on the matter and is primarily on a stance that he doesn't care what happens to anyone or whatever happens over there. And after being banned temporarily on Twitch and going ahead and, reflecting a lot on himself and his comments, he did make a video discussing on how disgusted he is with himself and with what he said, and not even clarifying anything on what he said and what he means and all this crazy shit, right? It's good to see him actually, reflect on, his mistakes and his wording in the past, or well, not really in the past, like a few days prior, but it's still nice to see him actually take accountability for himself. However, this has opened up a discussion about humanity. How when so much loss we send so much condolences for, so much tragedy we care about and share our humanity with, until there's nothing left, like how much is there going to be sent over there until it reaches the limit? What happens when we do reach that limit? I feel like people will normally just become cold. They will act less inclined to care for a situation that they feel continues to happen, and that humanity we would normally share wavers. That compassion that we feel for another human being will fade because it's become so normal for this situation, this incredibly tragic situation to even occur, to happen, that there's only so much a person's sympathy and care can go around. So I feel Mr. Asmongold has gone ahead and has no more humanity in the tank. And he has basically said that he doesn't care about what happens over there because it's a place that fosters genocide, a culture that fosters genocide, and feels that they have an inferior culture. Which, that's his opinion. He has addressed all of this in his latest video talking about it. And as well as being someone so caught up in the sauce of indifference and borderline hate for a culture he finds personal disagreements with and how they run things, I really do think that he fucked up majorly. He really did. And again, what he said was totally cold, fucked up, and cruel, and just insensitive. And he didn't give himself any favors by explaining it, because he didn't explain anything. He just made a whole bad situation for himself. And he made his bed. Now he has to sit in it. That's the whole thing for him right now. And for me, I'm not going to go ahead and get into like the good and bad of the culture over there, because every culture has its good and bad aspects to them. But I do think what's a better discussion is how his perspective on all this sparked conversations I think need to be addressed about this sort of point of view. Because Asmongold was stricken with a lack of humanity because he could not find it in himself to find any more compassion for the situation, as well as subconsciously suppressing his feelings even more due to how he feels about other matters like the culture, as well as the continuous lack of care on the leadership over there as well. Personally, I do think that this point of view is not new. Not caring for genocide abroad isn't something new, but it's not like it's denying it's fucked up. It's just that what can you do, right? What can you do? Especially when you can't spare the sympathy when this shit happens all the time and it's becoming so normalized that you sort of stop caring. You just put it in the back of your mind, and there's this phenomena of not being, not caring anymore because it just happens. It's always there. And what can you do at the end of the day? I think the point of view of not caring about the genocide, especially in the Middle East, coupled with the understanding of the history of the conflict there, can lead you to stop caring about it all due to the lack of compassion and humanity you may feel that they have towards each other. So why give yours if it isn't going to help anything at all? I think that's a valid sort of perspective as well, but at the same time, it's pretty cold, it's pretty logical, and I feel like as a human being, you would still want to go ahead and give out some sort of compassion and sympathy over to these people who are just trying to live life and trying to live as best as they can. Especially since the conflicts has been going on longer than we've been alive and probably will continue on after. Even if the conflict settled, like the bad blood will continue to exist until things escalate again, potentially. I do think Asmongold calling the culture inferior is too much. Like it's a lot. But to be fair, many cultures have aspects of them that are inferior to others, but what's inferior or superior is subjective. So at the end of the day, that's just his opinion. You can disagree with the culture and how they do things, how they feel about things. That's your opinion, and that's how you feel about it. I think banning Asmongold is fine, and if it's a temporary one, that's cool. That's fine too, right? Because of how he discussed it, it was bold, cold, and it just lacked humanity. It lacked care, and for anyone's feelings at all, right? Which can work for some people. Some people may agree with him. Some people may go ahead and be opposed to him. But at the same time, there are platforms. They have rules. They have stipulations, and they may not see it that way. They may see it as hate speech and so on and so forth, and that's their right to view it that way. That's their right, and everyone has their own opinion on the matter. The main issue and the main topic of discussion is the limits of our humanity and what can it turn us into when we do run out of fucks to give in a situation that in very sad cases that have been prolonged for so long and have been in our faces for so long, but we can't really do anything. We're not really there, that it becomes so normal to sort of see around that some people just don't care. Like there's this whole situation, whole phenomena where we just see it as normal thing to see in our daily lives. You don't really put much thought into it. Don't even put much care into it. We just see it and scroll away or just, like change a channel or something. It just doesn't give you much care anymore. And that's just really sad to me, that these situations that people just stop caring for, they just sort of just put in the back of their mind. They just, they scroll away to do whatever. And it's just sad. Honestly, it's really sad. Do I think Asmon is racist towards Islamic people? No, because you can't be racist towards a religious group. You can be prejudiced or discriminatory, but racism is based off of race. So with that being said, do I think he hates or dislikes Middle Eastern people? No. Muslims? No, but I do think he has no sympathy for people who show no real empathy and sympathy towards each other and cause situations and tragedies to happen. And I think that's mainly because of leadership. That's maybe because of ego, bad blood between, certain peoples. I think that's just normal people. That's just how things are during war and, different sets of people going ahead and having bad history with each other. I think that's normal, in the world, right? That there's bad blood between each other, depending on the situation. It doesn't even need to be like a certain set of people. It can be like an individual or whatever. But when it comes to this level, right? When it comes to two different sets of people with their own states or countries or, their own denomination, right? I don't think Asmon is racist or, any sort of discriminatory against anybody in particular, but people who show no care and love for, another subset of people that, they don't care about or just want to control or whatever. That's how I think. That's my best case scenario for the guy. If not, it's not really gonna hurt me if he, is a piece of shit. But I don't think he's a bad person per se. I just think he was just too lost in the sauce, like he said, and he was too lost in being that guy who's cold, calculated, and said the hard truth, and unfortunately, like in this situation, it didn't work because it lacked so much humanity. Everybody, including himself later on, was just disgusted with what he said. The lack of humanity he displayed is fucking crazy, and it is disgusting. It's fucking bad, of course, right? But his point of view makes sense, right? In a very cold, lack of humanity sort of way. But at the same time, it's bad. It's disgusting, right? It's not good, right? Am I running PR for Zach here, for Asmongold? Fuck no. He did say some fucked up shit without clarifying what the fuck he said, especially by the inferior part, and it fucked him over majorly, right? He can deal with the backlash. He'll be fine, right? However, no one is saying not caring about the conflict is wrong, because people do feel like it's a lost cause and out of their control. Let's set up an example, right? Look at Russia and Ukraine. At first, when the war happened, people cared a whole lot about it. Now people see it as a normal part of life and don't really put too much thought into it, right? Unless, they see it on YouTube in the news or, on TV or on the internet or whatever, right? But, normal life exists, right? It progresses, right? And the conflict exists too. And this normalcy is just sad, right? Look at school shootings. It's unfortunately becoming so normalized that people just aren't really surprised anymore. Some people don't even care anymore as long as it's not in their whole town or anything. They just sort of just, say that's fucked up, and that's the end of it. They probably won't even remember it by the end of the day. It's it's just a fucked up situation that people just aren't caring anymore. But it's so normalized that some people just don't care, that that I think for society itself is just making it worse, that we are getting to that point that we're normalizing not caring about tragedy. And that's just, again, that's just really sad. It's fucked, and I think more and more people are instead of saying that's crazy, my sympathies to the family, or trying to help, send any help or anything and so on, it's more indifference, which is crazy in itself, that we are at a point of being indifferent to the loss of human life, especially in great scale. Look, I don't blame Asmon or anybody who share this sort of point of view and mindset, because I can understand why they have it. It's that lack of humanity that, has them go ahead and sort of like hand wave this situation away from their mind and sort of not care for it. But it's still sad. It's still very disgusting that we as humans are able to feel this way towards another group of people who are experiencing all this. And it's incredibly sad and hurtful, and it's just incredibly, disappointing, right? It's not great that this sort of thing happens when it comes to people, right? At all. It's an incredibly difficult conversation to have, and many people will try to shift blame and try to make someone into the bad guy. But I don't really think there is a bad guy here at all. Conflicts and war are as natural to humankind as peace and harmony. Genocide is an unfortunate and traumatic occurrence, but is it one man's fault? No. Is it shitty to be indifferent to one that has nothing to do with you? Not really, but it's still shitty, of course, like I said. But the humanity of it, just like having the lack of humanity to care, is a problem, right? It's a very big problem, and the normalization of not caring for these incredibly intense and traumatic situations is just, I feel like it's on the rise, and I think it's not good. It's not good for the human heart. It's not good for humanity, and it's not the best. But the fact of the matter is that these conflicts will continue to happen. And even if me and many other people are screaming out with our humanity that all this stuff needs to stop, and et cetera, like, there are many other factors that will go ahead and fuel conflict, war, genocide, and all this and that. And it's sad. Like, it's an unfortunate truth that this happens. And it hurts. It, like, as a human being, it hurts to hear and see all this, like, these situations where people are losing their lives. They're like traumatizing situations are happening, and it's sad. It's genuinely sad that we're still at that point in human time where we can't talk or have any sort of situations where all this bad blood like goes on, and develops into more conflict and wars, and there's really no real end in sight because of it. And I'm not stupid enough to think that everything can be all sunshine and rainbows and butterflies and bullshit, that we can all always talk about things. I'm not that fucking dumb, right? These things will happen regardless of humanity or not, right? There's always going to be different factors that would go ahead and fuel these things, fuel war, fuel conflict. But at the end of the day, it's still sad. It's still a rough situation for many of the people in these locations in the world, and my heart goes out towards them. And unfortunately, I don't see an end in sight, nothing that I know of, because I'm just some guy. I'm just some guy. But if there is a pause, right, it will only be a pause until it's the next time to unload the next round of missiles and bullets to end more life. And it's incredibly sad, and it's not something that I want in my world at all. But I'm not stupid enough to try and make a blind eye towards it or anything, right, or ignore it. I'm going to go ahead and face it head on, and I will always go ahead and see if I can help in any sort of situation, like hands on. And if not, then I'll always go ahead and put my prayers out to do whatever I can to you know uh have all this sort of situation and information out, or trying to expand on it, or point out certain situations and mindsets that may be problematic. But I'm not going to go ahead and say that they're entirely wrong. There's always a sort of cause and effect of these situations. And for me, I'm picking up on the lack of humanity that Asmongold went ahead and displayed recently, and he's just a famous guy who is displaying the same sort of mindset and everything that many other people are going ahead and feeling as well. That's why many other people are going ahead and siding with him because they feel the same way. It's it's a situation that I feel needs to be addressed. That this lack of humanity needs to be known for. It needs to be seen and heard and sort of addressed, because it's, for me, it just doesn't feel good that a lot of people are not caring about these situations or trying to help. But at the same time, I'm not going to go ahead and fault them because at the end of the day, what can we do as well? Like, directly, I feel like most people would want to go ahead and try to help directly as well. But at the same time, some people just want to live their lives and be normal and be in their own peace. So I can't really fault them for that. So it's genuinely a really difficult conversation and a really interesting one as well. So with my little my little rant there, gone and past, or not really rant, but my little discussion and praisal for humanity and stuff like that. What do you guys think on the matter? Let me know in the comments below. If anyone of you who are watching my videos are in a place where there's war, genocide, violence, conflict, or anything like that, please, for humanity's sake, just be safe out there. I'm talking just generally because I know this perspective on war, especially from someone who is from a country that isn't directly involved with said conflict and wars at the moment. These conflicts will happen, and whether my country is involved or not, or you see this video in the future, and it still goes out to you that we all need a sort of, we need to understand that there is a cap on humanity. Like, there is a limitation on humanity, and I feel like we need to do something about that and sort of get the situation under control. Because if we can't display humanity, how can we help each other in any sort of situation, right? And I definitely do want, I can't say I need, I definitely do want in this world to, display more humanity, more care. I want there to be more peace, more love and care, but I'm not stupid enough to think that, that there will never be conflict ever in the history of the world, right? I'm not that fucking like naive and stupid, right? But I just want there to be, a sense of that there is a limit of humanity and that there needs to be something done about it, so we can go ahead and continue on with our lives, with our care, and try to extinguish these conflicts as fast as possible, and try to use our humanity to reach out and help those people in need. So yeah, thank you for watching, and stay safe, healthy, mentally, emotionally, and physically. See you guys later, and please, everybody, be safe out there, and let's have a great discussion and let's talk about it. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.